doing.
Who's on so far?
Hello,
Rather than try
Piper.
to, yeah,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
I see your name, but I don't know who you are. Are you a new Westport person? Turn them on, but wouldn't turn.
It wasn't a friendly.
I thought you guys were having like a secret squirrel meeting, so I just stood there.
I am not a Westport Islander. I am actually a reporter with the Lincoln County News.
Perfect. Okay, we were just wondering that because we haven't seen your name before, so welcome.
Thank you.
Piper, do you have any status with Charlotte, how she's doing?
Charlotte is doing well. She gives you all her best. She will be back in action, I believe, next Monday.
Oh,
All
good.
right, so you're Charlotte tonight.
I am Charlotte tonight, yes.
Welcome, and if you need names or anything else, holler and we'll try to remember to get those for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, it is 7:01 and we're going to start our meeting tonight. I'm going to begin with warrant items, and I'd like to move that we accept, approve payroll number 98 for $1,907.06. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to move that we accept accounts payable number 99 for $20,953.57. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'd like to move that we accept the minutes of April 22nd select board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I will have us sign those. Jeff. And actually, I'm gonna wait on the citizens issue, because typically I would have put that under legal business, so I'm gonna move it. I just figured he was here every week, so we'll save that for later.
No issues?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if there's an
Issue with
issue
the
there. All right, no citizens issue, and Piper, just to let you know, we only have one guest here tonight. Usually we at least have our road commissioner, but he's not here right now. All right, anything on the budget, Jeff?
Well, I just will note that we've had weeks of taking sections of the proposed budget to get input and to discuss what we've spent so far. Our next step was going to be to pull together, I guess, the overall picture of the budget, the forecast for how we finish off this year and what we think we'll be needing for next year. And that'll help feed into building the town meeting warrant. So nothing tonight.
And those discussions about the warrant items will be coming up on Monday nights, coming very soon. Yeah. This week is May already. It's like, whoa,
I know.
kind of scary.
Very scary.
All right, since our road commissioner's not here, we're gonna skip roads and we're gonna go to correspondence. And one of the things that we did receive this week was a supplemental groundwater investigation of the former town dump. And this is from Sevi and Mayer engineers. And we have, just for your knowledge, Piper, we have a town dump on the island, and we had a nice little survey done, research done to see how it was doing, whether it was leaking or doing anything else. It's been closed for what,
Since
25
78,
years?
I think you said?
78, it's been
Yep,
closed
yeah.
for quite a few
Over
years.
4 years.
Yeah. We now all use Wiscasset. But we had the opportunity to have an investigation of that sampling done to see whether there's PFAS, anything else that was causing problems. And this is a follow-up. They did a follow-up, and basically there's a residence on the left, north and south of the town dump. And the resident on the south end was willing and did get her well tested. And this is free part of the study, and the one in the north did not, chose not to get the water tested. So basically, just to quote the recommendations, is that groundwater at the former Westport Town dump, including the drinking water well at the main road residence, should continue to be monitored on an annual or biannual basis in order to evaluate and monitor seasonal and or long-term trends of PFAS impacted groundwater. What they've said is right now, it's fine, it's okay. But they need to continue to monitor that. And the second recommendation was to continue attempts to obtain an access agreement with the owner of the northern adjoining property in order to collect a groundwater sample from their private water supply well. So basically right now, the two residents, the one resident, they can say it's fine. The other one, a year ago, with part of the original study, I think at that time, I think they did both, but they tested the entire field, and we don't have the map now, but anyway, so this was just some correspondence that, and actually one of his questions was, can we send that on?
Yes,
so
I
that
was
we'll
just
get
gonna
paid?
say that,
And
yeah.
I didn't want to say anything until we had talked and addressed that. So,
I move we move this forward, let them move it forward so we can get reimbursed.
yep, I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
I will send him a note and let him know to go ahead.
I think, does anyone know the folks at 1479?
I do not, I
Well-
know the one in the south.
I've stopped and talked to them a couple of times. I think I talked to them about this originally. So if it's okay, I could stop by and just see,
It would be great.
because I'm a little surprised he didn't agree to it.
Maybe he thought there was gonna be a cost for him or
It's
something?
possible. I don't know. And I don't know how the survey folks approached him.
Yeah,
about
I
it.
don't either, yeah,
If they were purely relying on him getting back,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, so if you can contact him, that, whoops, no, I don't wanna do that. Okay, I'm going back to. Cancel. All right. Conservation meeting, I just wanted to update everyone that the Conservation Commission did have a meeting last Thursday. They invited Jessica Meeks, hydrogeologist with the Maine Geological Survey. She actually met with the Select Board, the Conservation Committee, and invited the Planning Board as well, just to give sort of a sneak preview, to talk a little bit about the groundwater and salt intrusion in Maine. Also there was Carol White, who's the one who's in charge of doing the analysis. This goes back to last summer. No, actually before that, we got a grant, about a $50,000 grant, the Conservation Commission did, to look at the wells here on the island and to look at salt intrusion to see what kind of issues there may be. Since we are dependent on aquifers and, you know, each of us has our own individual well, trying to figure out, is this potentially a problem? Carol is still working on that research, so we have nothing to share with that, but they did at least share overall just some of the issues related to salt intrusion. And both of these two, Lisa and Jeff, attended as well. You have anything to add or comment on?
There was just so much information, but her presentation, she's going to, she being Jessica, is gonna share it with us, because there were lots of really interesting links that we could look at, that might be helpful.
Yeah, there was a specific mention about looking at our town as being a single aquifer town. And I haven't looked at what Dennis Dunbar had sent us.
Because it is
but
not easy.
Is it?
It's like,
Yeah.
I think Vinyl Haven
Only
was
four
one.
towns in the entire state of Maine
Yeah,
are considered single access or something like that. And it was Monhegan, Vinyl Haven, two
Two others, I can't remember.
So it's hard evidently, and I'd like to do a little bit more research and find out, so what would that mean for us? And what would it mean for our ordinances or anything else?
Yeah,
But that just came up in conversation, and I think that'd be something we want to follow up on later. So Jeff, you had something to add?
Just the observation, I think that again, it reinforces that we are pretty much all our straws are going into the same place.
yeah, no,
And
the
so-
timing of everything has just
Yeah.
been really,
And one of the other little nuances was that where we do blasting, that's another potential
Yeah.
concern, because by blasting, you could open up or close some of the fractures that are feeding people's wells. So that's a concern as properties, as lots get smaller, and it's more likely that someone's blasting for their place may affect a neighbor. That's been a concern people have articulated at times. It was good to actually hear that suspicion confirmed as a
right.
possibility.
sure,
Yeah.
it's complicated. And I think when I asked Carol, when she thought the results or the report would be ready, did she say midsummer?
I
Something,
think that's what
something
she's
like
hoping on.
that?
She's
Yeah.
been working on it for a
Look,
long time.
Lowering our expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we were able to, this information is for Piper and for Kim. We were able to get, I think, 160 wells tested. And all that is also going up on our bigger maps that show actually better placement of where wells are and become part of the statewide database. So there's a lot of discussion about the state database, and our data will feed into that, but
But
go ahead.
because that's one of the, I think that's important for the long haul, is that we don't have a separate little data set up to
Yeah,
one
we don't
side,
share.
but it's part of the state.
Of
And then
the
as
state,
things
which is great.
get reported to the state, it'll feed to the data that we have access to.
Yeah.
Because as new wells are drilled, they're supposed to get reported.
Right,
So it's strategic is just good. We're gonna have a better data and continuing as we go forward. It's not a one shot.
And she was saying, Jessica Meeks, was saying something about, she wanted to use our data when we got it to add to some of, she's doing a study or whatever, and I missed that part. But anyway, our data will feed into her data as well, something that she's working on right now. But I think all of us are anxious to hear what Carol has to say, and we will have a town, an opportunity to share all that. It was just a small meeting this past Thursday to just share some of the information, not data results. So, but it was great that we had somebody from,
I have a question.
yes,
Have they already provided a mapped out aquifer? Like, has the aquifer actually been mapped out?
I believe there is.
We-
some-
Geological survey?
What we have actually as a layer on our GIS map, as part of the property maps, tax maps, showing the location of aquifers.
I think there's three, right?
Three large ones, yeah. So if you look at that, you'll get a flavor of what we do know. But I don't know how much they've done beyond that imaging.
Yeah, her research, or what she shared with us, is really how the salt intrusion works and how, you have the fresh water that touches with the salt water, and then what happens, and so it was a very interesting discussion.
It's referred to as the Aquifer Protection Area Map. And
that was one of my questions for them though, Kim. At some point, I was hoping, so that, are there places on the island that we should be, that catch fresh water, and are those, should they be sort of
It's-
protected or designated as something, because some of them around my house, they're growing and it's a lot of water that's collected there, but does it serve a purpose, for the aquifers? That I don't know.
Listen, I mean, mostly you see the aquifer mapped down the center of the island.
Right.
And a lot down towards the south, because the south is wider. But it does extend up, not quite to the north.
Is that one
North end.
around Doggett Road there? Was that the one by you?
Indeed.
Yeah. Yep, I figured, which one is that, the back, the one in the back, yeah,
Yep.
I would think it would have to be, because there's a lot of water there, yeah.
And this, again, why we've been concerned about Greenleaf, because that property is down here.
Yes,
So they
yep,
back up onto that aquifer.
Yep, right,
yep. So yeah, it's on
Wormwood, you
the
mean.
map already.
Hmm?
Yep,
Wormwood, you mean.
Wormwood, yep. All right,
Original case
Yeah,
of the
Greenleaf,
EPA 3
yeah.
years ago.
yep. All right, let's move to admin items. One thing we needed to do is appoint election clerks. April, you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, so this is a once every 2 years thing. All of our wonderful election workers need to get appointed before May 1st of every even numbered year. That appointment is good for 2 years, at least for the state elections. For the local elections, they have to be appointed before each election. And we haven't been doing that. We've kind of tried to combine it, but the manual seems very clear that you really can't do that. So I'm gonna start separating them because it's not that hard.
No.
So I think I'll have you guys appoint and I'll just bring the appointments, the elections before the local election and have them get sworn in right there as they come in to do their shift.
yeah,
So that should only happen once a year with our June elections. So you will see another batch of these next month, so don't be surprised. And those will be the specific people that'll be working that election once I get them lined up.
is it generally as many, or often the same people, or?
Well, that's the whole list. I don't use the whole list every
Oh,
time
okay.
because I need backups, so
Yeah.
I have to have extra and can't use everybody. I don't know exactly how many I use.
Looks like- yeah.
6 to 8 each election. Yep, so.
All right,
Do you have some
so,
that you use every time, like the warden?
I haven't, just because people haven't been available every time necessarily. I think I may have had a different warden every election, and that's just the way it's worked out.
mhm.
Okay.
Yes, yep, that's the way it's worked out. So I'm trying to cultivate that, and yeah, it's tricky.
So I think to make this easier, I'm going to make a motion that we appoint, and I'll read down this list of people, and then we'll sign later if approved. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint the following as municipal officers. Anne Marie Walco, you now know her. Debbie Williams, Jessica Bailey, Joan Bradford, Joanna Jacobs, Kathy Henderson, Richard Barker, Sarah Griffiths, Ann Cole Fairfield, Carol Norris, Carolyn Schaefer, Deborah Lawrenson, Mary Coventry, Ralph Cadman, Richard Coventry, Richard Lawrenson, Gay Wagner, and Meg Skidmore. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, we will sign these at the end of the meeting. That was about 15 different names.
I just wanted to make a note for the record. I'd like to use Becky Dickatanen as my warden, and I'm not sure if the warden can or should be an election clerk too. I'm not sure if that's a conflict or if they're supposed to be. So I'm trying to figure that out, and we can always appoint more people after today.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to do like your big batch before May 1st. So that's why she's not on there. I want to use Becky for elections, and she's been willing. But I'm still trying to figure out what's the right way to do that for a warden role.
You know, I thought they were supposed to be one of the clerks, but
I don't know, there was a little thing in state law that was confusing, and it was something about a warden cannot fill in for election clerks, cannot, if an election
Oh,
clerk
wow.
is absent, the warden can't do their role, so I was like, oh, well, maybe it's a conflict, maybe I shouldn't be appointing my wardens as election, so I gotta ask some questions. Minor technicality.
All right, a not so minor technicality is the next item on the admin item. And April, you want to talk about that?
Yep, so we're getting to the point where we have to print our annual reports. And I've gotten estimates from 3 different printers, Express Copy, who we've used the last few years, I think. At least last year and the year before. A place called Maxim, I think that the History Committee uses. Is that the right name? I don't know.
yeah, we just use them to,
Yeah.
because we got an excellent price.
And the Lincoln County News. And I got estimates for both what's called a perfect binding and a saddle stitch binding. Perfect is like a nice classic booklet with a nice flat spine like so, which we have done for most of the history of town reports. And Saddle Stitch is a little less pretty. It's where you have the staple on the binding. It's a lot cheaper. And with Express Copy, I think they send their stuff out to get it perfect bound. It takes longer and it's super
Which
expensive.
is why it's so expensive, yeah.
Yeah. So I got estimates for both those things from all three of those, and Express Copy came in most affordable with the Saddle Stitch. That's the lower overall price, a little over 1,000. But their Perfect Bind is extremely expensive. Maxim came in with, you can't do a Saddle Stitch, I believe. They had a
Right.
minimum or maximum page
Limit
number.
of 70.
Yeah, and our annual reports are longer than that. And their Perfect Bind, I think, was quite expensive.
24.30 plus 250 for shipping.
So 26.79,
Yeah.
which is still cheaper than Express Copy.
Right. And then Lincoln County News came in a little more expensive for the Saddle Stitch than Express Copy, but a lot cheaper than Maxim and Express Copy for the Perfect Binding. So I think it basically comes down to two choices: very affordable Saddle Stitch with Express Copy versus reasonable but more expensive for a Perfect Binding with Lincoln County News.
Just as a different question, did you have any sense of difficulty working with either?
Well, I
Just to
don't
make
have-
it easier for
yeah.
you too.
Express Copy is really fast and professional, big outfit, they crank it out. I have to go down to Portland to pick it up. You guys have to pay mileage, so that's an extra cost.
Well, generally,
think
somebody
so.
else picks it up like me.
Yeah, or someone who's going or wants to volunteer to do it. But I had to do it last year. There was a timing thing.
Okay.
And I ended up having to do it, and I did get reimbursed. Lincoln County News, we've worked with them for other things, they've been very dependable. So I think either one sounds good. I let Lincoln County News know when we would need it by, and they didn't say we can't do that, or that's gonna be tight or anything. I'd like to get a little more clarity with them on turnaround. I know Express Copy can do it really fast. So if we did decide to go with LCN, I'll have to get clarification.
Piper, do you know anything about printing estimates? Since we are on the,
We won't tell your boss.
Unfortunately, I do not know anything about that.
No, this is perfect.
This is perfect. This
yeah, I'm
is
just
all
looking
that.
at our list up here, and
So-
it looks like the top row is all, the Saddle Stitch.
No, it's all perfect.
Perfect, and they're the old ones.
Yep.
And then the next row down is all the, they're the perfect, the second row
Yeah.
down. And the top row is the
They
Saddle
do look
Stitch.
perfect.
Well, these, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Talking
is
like-
a totally different model. altogether.
Right,
yeah.
So we're not, yeah, okay.
but they're stapled, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a different format, so. it's-
Where, yeah, I know it's a smaller size, but
How
it's
do you-
still,
How do you determine how many you do?
We just ballpark and see what the demand is. So we did 350 last year and we ran out, but very late in the year. So almost, just ran out, like not that long ago.
Okay.
So it was pretty, I think it was a good number.
Yeah.
We,
So we don't have any more from last
no
year?
more in the office.
Okay, 'cause we did that as well last year as well, so it's 2 years running. that
And we
did
had
that.
300, we had less the previous year.
Are we kind of like
so we went
putting
from
it in people's
300.
hands, or are we letting people ask for it first?
You know, that's Dee Dee. Dee Dee's the one who kind of, as people come in, they're new to town or they have questions, she's got a pile right there up front. She's like, oh, take a town report. And I hear her say it a lot. So I think Dee Dee's kind of offering them up to people.
Mhm.
And people take them a lot at the town meeting. People take them a lot at the elections. I don't know. We did 300 and they ran out pretty early, I guess.
That was
This before my
2
time.
year ago.
And so I bumped it up to 350 and that seemed
We
to,
still ran out, but
we
not
did
so
run
late.
out, but not,
So maybe like 375? I hate to run it up too much.
yeah. No, I'd stick with 350.
I'd say 350. I
It worked
think we
okay.
don't need to maybe let people ask, make people a little bit there, but I suspect sometimes people take them and then it goes in the trash.
Never. Never. Yeah, and if we keep 5 copies here, that'll be good. We'll just keep running 5 copies. And,
They're available.
if anybody wants to check in.
Okay.
To 350s are going amount. And go ahead, Jim.
So,
Is it, just my reaction, just looking at the stapled version, I don't think it's gonna wear as well.
I like the perfect.
I do too, but is it really worth $600 more? Not even, no, it's $800 more than we spent, I don't know, than we spent last year. Almost $1,000 more, right?
Well, this would be the cheapest here,
cheapest-
1,200
perfect is-
versus
2,000 versus $800.
$800.
I know, it looks amazing, but how's it looking at everybody else's house? Where does it wind up? I have mine stacked up like in my room, just laying somewhere.
I don't think they get more now. No, you're right, from reading every page. I have to say that I've gotten it every single year that I've gone to a meeting, but I don't think I've ever paid attention to binding on it as, and, you know, it's. So I'm sort of with you, and even though I really like the perfect stitch.
It's just, it's just
It's
money, and
$800.
everything is so expensive. I
Yep.
think, for something like this, it's not that important. Sorry, it's just my opinion. Not that important that it's not, perfectly bound like that.
Yeah,
what
we
sense
have a
does it?
PDF, you know what I mean, like it's on the website,
Ah,
and we have an electronic version.
so I'm for,
Not for saving money.
Yeah,
saddle stitch,
the
so.
1,200 one, right?
Yeah, from Express Copy. You said you like working with them.
Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion that, we ask April to, order 350 copies saddle stitch of our annual report for $1,199.80. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. All right. Look at all the money we saved. Okay, the next thing on the agenda, did you have anything else before we went to one item I had?
Well, I was kind of thinking, it may be time that I started doing an overview of what's coming up with all this election stuff, because there's a lot coming up. And I have a few questions for you guys, not that they desperately need to be decided today, but it might be good to at least start thinking about. So as you know, papers were due, and we have one candidate on the ballot, Kim, who's with us tonight, Kim Lynch for select board. And we need write-ins for the school board seat. No one returned papers for that. Absentee voting hasn't started yet. We'll start sometime in early May when I get the ballots from the state, due by May 13th, probably earlier. The RSU 12 budget meeting is May 22nd at 6:30 at the Chelsea Elementary School. This is the meeting where all Westport voters can go and vote at that meeting. And we need people there to pass that budget, or not pass it, I guess, if they don't want to. But a decision has to be made on the budget in order for it to get in front of the voters in June. So it's an important step in the process. I can also register people there. I'll be there to register people. Yeah, so if someone wants to go.
They usually want you to bring
The ballot box.
The ballot
that's right.
box.
Oh, yeah, they
Yes.
already touched on
Westport
that.
is known for its ballot
I
box.
will be bringing the historic ballot box. And if people want to go, I'll be driving there, so I can carpool. Lisa, did you set a date for a hearing on your proposed ordinances yet? No, okay.
I'm waiting to hear back from the attorneys.
And that was gonna be the
Yeah.
question about.
Yep, okay. The election itself is Tuesday, June 11th, 8 to 8. And there's three things. It's a state primary, RSU 12 budget referendum, and our local election. So there'll be three separate ballots. Town meeting. So the only real date, and I can't remember if we discussed this and we voted on it or not. The only reasonable date is June 22nd.
It's been on my calendar, so we have to talk about it.
Mhm.
Well, I just want to make sure that's official.
Yep.
Any chance we could do it at 10 instead of 9? 9 always feels torturously early for me. And I have not made several town meetings as a citizen just because it was hard to get out the door that early on Saturday morning.
You missed the pancake breakfast too.
I know, that was too early. It should be a brunch. It should be a brunch. Everything should be a brunch. I'm the person who got the town office to open at 10 a.m. So I'm a big fan of 10 a.m. Nothing should happen before 10 a.m. So we don't have to decide that today. just a suggestion before we make it official, would be a little
I wonder
nicer.
if that'd be a question for, Chris.
Oh, I talked to Chris and he was like, heck yeah. You can verify that. He was,
I would, because I'm a morning person, it's like, I wanna be home by
I know.
noon, come on.
yeah, some people want to be in that.
But I can give up my Saturday morning.
So we're gonna do your chores first, and then.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be ready for lunch by then.
Well, that's what we used to have the fire department sell, hot dogs and other things there as a
And it would
little bit of fundraiser, but.
Yep, but that would still work, doesn't it?
Well, it's going later, actually, maybe more likely
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
would wanna buy that stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I don't see an issue. If you've talked to Chris, I don't know what you're thinking.
Fine by me, as long as people's heads don't explode because it's 10 and not 9.
Well,
You never know what's gonna make people different. So we don't have to decide tonight. I just wanted to put it on your radar. If you want to think it over a little more, we can come back to it.
I'm
Just
sure
whatever.
other people that have young kids would be appreciative.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the struggle when I was little.
Yeah.
I don't know what my excuse is now.
but on
Just keep
that,
using it.
April, but that's actually kind of a good note, because in terms of some organizations, you try to provide childcare, so parents can go.
Yep.
I wonder if that's something we might want.
more younger people here.
Well, and we have parents of younger kids who are, who
Right.
want to come to the
Yep.
meeting, because they're.
And they bring their little ones.
Which is what this is up there.
There's not like a good space there though, because the building is so small and all the rooms are not that separated, you know?
You know,
You could bring them outside, but that would be a lot for the
Oh,
babysitter.
God.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna poke at that a little bit, because maybe if there's a way in which we could have some childcare set up,
Yeah.
so to make it feasible.
Set up on arts and crafts camp on the side.
Yeah, I was thinking that the
Yeah.
church next door, but I could just see those little ones crawling under the pews, and it was like, no.
Finger
painting.
Yeah.
Yes, we have some nicely painted pews. Yeah, so we'll continue to think about that, but whatever is decided, I just, we need to make church really, really clear with people.
Yeah.
And I know you send your monthly newsletters out, and I think people are starting to appreciate those and are getting them.
Yeah.
and starting to.
I could
read
do
them.
something fun. I could do like a poll or something in my newsletter and see how people feel.
Oh, good
You know,
idea.
do what-
That at least has people realizing that we're thinking about it.
Right, and then I can blame the poll. They get mad at me. Are you okay with me, getting the services of Chris Cooper confirmed? He said he would do it, but I would like to.
Please.
If he wants to do it again,
Subject himself,
I
yes.
think you have to vote on this, though. I think you're supposed to like.
point, we do
Yeah.
on the, somewhere, is it
Well,
on the
he,
11th?
no, he gets elected by, it's complicated. He gets elected at the beginning of town meeting, just like we did at the special. But because this is, it's called a bifurcated town meeting, so the election on June 11th is
Starts.
part of the town meeting on the 22nd. So whoever is in the room before the election begins, they send me and my workers will elect the moderator. Oh, right. And so it's even more complicated than that, because Chris isn't actually, the way we did this last year and the way that MMA recommends, it's like Chris doesn't have to drive down here twice, is that we elect a moderator who is my warden, essentially, warden moderator of one thing, in this situation. And that person, let's just say it's Becky, who's moderator. She is in charge of the election and she's in charge of the town meeting. So what happens is she goes in the morning before town meeting starts, and Chris comes and she appoints him deputy moderator. So Chris is not elected, he's appointed by the elected moderator, who was elected not by the full town meeting, but by the 10 election workers at the beginning of the election. So that's how it works. Anyways, sorry, that was a lot.
Who wrote that?
But I think you were supposed to just like say it's okay to hire him. I feel like there was a vote last year.
I thought we decided to go with Chris again.
I don't think
I know
officially, I
it's-
think we talked about it. at
We talked
one of our
about it, because I
Thursday
think,
meetings.
I remember I asked whether he was willing to come back there.
Right.
And I said I ran into him in Hannaford, and yes, he was, but I think.
So I move that we ask Chris Cooper to serve again as moderator at the meeting.
Make it official.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anything else with the town election? No. Okay, we have one other item that I know of, and that is, last Tuesday? Last Tuesday, Tuesday, we had a peer, PIER, review, at the North End Road, for property owned by Thomas Perry, and we had a meeting. The three of us, met to talk about whether, there were any navigational hazards or whether any ingress or egress issues. And we found none. And so, I have notes for us to initial, okay? And then I'd like to make a motion that we, accept or, grant the license to, Thomas Perry for his, it's very long, it's several different pieces, it's 6 foot wide by 40 foot long access path with 3 foot by 4 foot long set of access steps that connects to a 6 foot wide by 40 foot long pier, a 3 foot wide by 40 foot long ramp, and a 10 foot wide by 20 foot long seasonal float, and a 10 foot wide by 32 foot long float. Well, they got all that in there.
Did you stay for the planning board group?
Mhm.
That was, so obviously there were no issues,
Mhm.
nothing.
Yeah, they formally have to take their vote, but they had a quorum, and so they're able to take the action. And they'll do the same thing we're doing in the next week.
Yeah, I saw that Jimmy was showing up just as I was looking.
Yeah, and I saw Archie coming in, he looked a little lost. So I pulled over and I told him, just keep going, you're in the right direction.
All right, so, for other legal business, there are
Oh,
two.
wait, you motioned to grant the license,
Oh,
but I
I
didn't
didn't get
get
a
a
second. Do I have a second? And all in favor? All
But
right. Thank you.
before we move on to administrative, one of the things I think would be good to do for next week is just let's see where we have those in committees. And make it a priority that we we'll try to fill those. There was something I saw in a document about who to tell if you're interested, or who to tell if
We'll have an application now.
right, so say, but I still went directly back towards the town clerk, not just any staff member, but really to make sure it comes back to the town clerk.
Yeah, it'll come back to me, but I think, obviously, it'll go to the select board and the committee chair.
Right.
That's whoever we've been.
Right.
But
there's something there just where the text was talk to any town staff person, so really it should be the town clerk of the staff. We definitely need to keep going.
Yep.
Where we've got weaknesses, particularly the planning board.
Yep, that's one of them, yep. So we'll put that on the agenda for next week.
Have you seen the Wiscasset sign? We need help.
Oh, I saw
They
the
need,
sign,
they
yeah.
need appeals and planning board.
We need appeals too.
I know, but they have a nice neon sign that you drive by all the time and see it.
Yeah, sign it.
I
Stuff
will,
like that, yeah.
So Donna, I'm planning to put it in the newsletter, which will go out May 15th, which will be good timing.
But also just to talk next week about, I like Jeff's idea about just here are committees and make it public that, these are the committees where we really need some people in.
It wouldn't make it hurt if you've got them just to send a note to each, email to the different committee chairs and say, hey, how do you feel? Because we may have people listed currently on the committee that they don't want to be renewed.
Or yeah, we can't seem to get off or something, yeah.
But so just us looking at the count, it may not reflect actually the next year.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, they should be, yeah, they should be.
So they should be, but let's, a little
That's a
two-way
good idea.
communication.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, so if you can get us any update on that, would be great. All right, on other legal business, we have two issues, and I'll just do mine quickly, because I think mine will be shorter than Jeff's. We've had somebody come every day to ask about it every week, but I'd just like to give an update on the Wormwood issue on Greenleaf. When we talked last week, the plan was to get a permit, an application for a permit, I'm sorry. An application for a permit to put up 3 small sheds that we would then be able to store things in. The issue, Piper, is that he has a junkyard there, and you can't legally have a junkyard. And so we've been working with him to clean it up. He did submit an application. It was approved, and I heard from him this weekend. He actually started cutting up some pallets.
I think he said he took 2 trailer loads to the dump.
To the dump. He and his wife took some stuff to the dump, so
That's
they're
good.
starting the process. And I will, I'm trying to stay in contact with him every single week to see progress, and he's been
He's been
sending
good.
weekly.
Unsolicited, yeah, he does
Yeah,
it on his own.
he's been doing it on his own, so I
So,
feel like,
yeah. Plus the weather's
Right.
finally breaking.
yeah, I just feel like you can do more with honey than you can with vinegar, so it's my philosophy. So, but I feel like we're making progress, so, I'm sorry that, Mario isn't here to hear that, but if he's listening to this later, I think he'll be pleased, Mario. So that's my update on the Wormwood issue. Jeff, I think you had an update as well?
Well,
What's your
actually,
issue?
brief, I think we're going to have an executive session with our town attorney on the Baker Road situation and litigation. We had reached a settlement, a stipulated judgment with the Greenleafs on the abutters to Baker Road last summer. That established the property line. They have been putting material across the property line into the roadway. We're going to have an executive session with attorneys to discuss our continuing next steps. At least the current status is they have moved back most of the material that was in the roadway, but there's still material in the roadway. But it's not sufficient to obstruct traffic. It's not something that the sheriff or the DA isn't going to prosecute. It's not worth their time because it's not currently a public safety issue. But just to note, we will have this executive session. So our Thursday session will have to also be a regular select board session as well. So we can have that executive session at 3 o'clock. And hopefully coming out of that, we'll have, this isn't going to be still resolved, but we will be able to have some next steps that we hopefully can feel good about.
Hopefully, one of these days it won't be on your plate.
Right, so.
It's kind of my
notice that.
objective is to get it so you don't get stuck with this too. It's been going since at least 2009.
He's around like 30 years of it.
Well, not quite 30,
Let's get
like
close.
25.
In April, you said something?
I'll notice that tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other news, any other updates or anything else? No. Then I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this, select board meeting.
Okay, I'll second that with the item in mind that we're going to be signing.
Yes, we have
As
a
part of the
bunch of
meeting,
things to
yeah.
sign. So Piper, we're gonna sign off. Hope to get to meet you in person one day and give Charlotte our best. Take care. Bye-bye.
I will, thank you.